My guest today has been a major player in the rock and roll world since the Summer of Love with Vanilla Fudge, Beck, Bogert, and Appice, and of course the classic lineup of the Rod Stewart Band. We're very excited. You can read about that and more in his new book, Stick It, My Life in Sex, Drums, and Rock and Roll. Carmine Appice, very excited to have you. Welcome to Psycho Babble.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Now,
what's the name of the show?
Psycho Babble.
Okay, Psycho Babble. That's
exactly
just
right.
what you had a minute ago.
That's exactly right. Okay, so there's a world full of adequate drummers, guys who can keep reasonable time, do what the guitar player tells them to do, and then there's these guys who got a little something extra that take the band to the next level. When did you decide you were going to be one of those guys?
I always wanted to be one of those guys because my idol was Gene Krupa.
Okay.
And Gene Krupa took the drums to the next level and made them a solo instrument that people loved. You know, my parents used to tell me about him playing at the Paramount in New York and how they get everybody dancing in the aisles and going absolutely crazy for Gene Krupa and all the drum solos and the grooves, and so that left an impression on me. And then, you know, as I started playing, and when I made it with Vanilla Fudge, you know, I was into the whole Krupa thing, the showmanship, the twirling, you know, and Vanilla Fudge was totally different for me because I had to use my body more to play because of the power of the music.
Okay.
You know, and I was playing against giant amplifiers and just sitting there playing lightly did not work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to like put my whole body movements into everything. And, you know, that started it off, and you know, little did I know I was creating a rock style of music that wasn't available yet, you know, and it was all good.
What was your connection to John Bonham? I read that you taught John Bonham to play.
Well, I didn't teach him to play. I was one of his idols, just like Gene Krupa was one of my idols, you know, but there was a couple of things he got from me that he showed me when I met him. You know, when we took him on their very first tour, Vanilla Fudge, John Bonham was unknown. It's hard to believe now, but I'm telling you, this guy was unknown. And being unknown, he was like just an unknown drummer, like a lot of unknown guys, you know. And he said, you know, I said, I love that bass drum thing you do. And he said he got it from me, and I don't know where he got it. And he pointed it out on one of my records where I did it once, and he took it and, you know, did the repetition on it, made it more exciting and more interesting. And I love that, you know. And then he did a cymbal twirl and grabbing of the cymbal the way I did it as a goof. And then people who saw him do that, people like Tommy Lee, when I met Tommy, he said he got that from John Bonham. I said, well, he got it from me.
That's great. That's great.
And it's, you know, it goes down the line. You know, Joe Morello always said, nobody has it all, we all steal from each other. And that's correct.
Well, allegedly, you were also present for some of the offstage annex with Led Zeppelin.
Yes, I was.
Anything you want to disclose there?
No, you have to read the book for that.
You have to
one.
read the book.
Yeah, the Mudchalk Incident, which became a song by Frank Zappa, and it became the probably top 3 of the MTV and VH1 most shocking moments of rock and roll.
Absolutely.
Which I've done many interviews about on MTV and VH1, and now I just did one this morning for Classic Rock magazine in the UK, talking about the Mudchalk and the mythology of it, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And the mythology. I said, what do you mean by mythology of it?
It's just another day on the road for you.
Yeah. So. But I wrote, you know, we put it in a book, and this guy read the book, and he loved it. He said that was the best accounting of the incident of anywhere. So.
Well, now, future drummers out there, what do they need to know? I mean, again, a kid starting out, he wants to make his mark. He wants to be different. He wants to be a real drummer. What does he need to know?
Well, I would say, first of all, he should think about starting a wedding band.
Why is that?
Because the music business is fucked. Excuse me.
Yeah.
There's no music business anymore, you know? I mean, you know, I'm producing this band here called Chains Over Razors, a great band, but it's so difficult to get them going, you know? I mean, they got to pay to get on tours. They got to pay for everything themselves. It's terrible. I mean, you know, when we were growing up, we played gigs, we got paid some money. Come on, you know?
That? Well, I hope it's evolving into something, because it really does suck, and it discourages people from being musical artists.
One positive thing I just found out this week was KLOS, the big radio station in
Los Angeles.
LA, is now gone rock, and they're playing regular new rock as well. And my daughter told me that, and then Vinny was telling me about. My brother said he heard a new album of one song, and the way they do it is they have 9 people vote, and if 6 of them vote that they like it, they'll play a second song.
Oh, wow.
So Vinny said, I like this song. It was good. And then they played the second song. And it was good. So at least there's some new exposure. That's how it has to happen.
Yeah.
It can't be on the internet.
Right.
It cannot be on the internet because people like myself, you know, like, what new bands you like? I said, tell you the truth, I don't have a clue. I don't have time to sit around on the internet and look around for new product, new work, new bands. I'm too busy with my own life, you know. And that's,
Absolutely.
you know, unless you're a kid, maybe, you know, young 15-year-old. But even then, you know, it'll go into school, someone have work afterwards, you know, you got time to sit around and look. It's easy to just turn on your radio if you're driving to work, you hear a new band. That's great. That's the way it should be.
But let's go back to the heyday, the Rod Stewart Band. Man, that classic lineup of you guys, just looking at those videos, it's oozing sex and drugs all over the place. Was that nearly as much fun as it looks?
It was fun. It was probably the best part of my career as far as having fun, releasing records, knowing you're going to sell 5 million copies, you know, and then, you know, being on the road, you know, you're playing to 20,000 people a night and multiple nights in the city. You know, it was amazing. When we released the Blondes Have More Fun album, with Do You Think I'm Sexy, which I co-wrote, went to #1 in like every country in the world. You know, we were playing, like we did 6 nights at the Forum in LA, that's 120,000 people. We did 5 nights at the Garden. We did, you know, 60,000 people in Sydney, another 4 nights at Wembley, which is 80,000 people. You know, it was like unbelievable, you know?
Now getting back to your book, Stick It. You're traveling the world, you're a big rock star, coming from the mean streets of Brooklyn. Again, is there any one point in your life that sticks out where you sat back and said, wow, this what a strange journey this has been?
Well, I got to say that one of the times that stuck out in my head was when we went to a party. Did you read the book?
Not yet.
Okay. It helps if you read the book, you know this. Anyway, we had there was a party that Alan Carr, the producer of Grease, had for Rod and the band. I think it was for Rod's wedding to Alana Hamilton at the time. And we went there, and I'm standing at the party, and somebody walks up to me. I could see he was a big guy. He walks up to me, puts out his hand, I put out my hand, and he says, "Hi, I'm Gregory," and it was Gregory Peck.
Wow.
And like I went, whoa. And I'm thinking to myself, well, this is Gregory Peck, you know.
Yeah.
And then he tells me that he and Fred Astaire were at our show, which I knew. And he said when I was doing my solo, Fred Astaire said that it was the best solo he's seen since Gene Krupa.
Oh my God.
Now, Gene Krupa was my idol. And I said, wow, Fred Astaire said that? And I'm thinking to myself, Gregory Peck's telling you this. You know, I was just blown away. And
That's
then,
stunning.
And then he tells me that Fred wanted to play rock drums. He never knew how to do this. He's a drummer. I didn't know he was a drummer. He says he always wanted to learn how to play, but he never had any idea. So I said, look, you know, I wrote this drum book. I had a drum book that sold, you know, by now it's 400,000 copies. It was Realistic Rock. A lot of big guys went through the book. I said, I have this book I can give you to him, to give to him. He says, okay. So Rod used to live next door to Gregory Peck. So he said, next time you're at Rod's, ring my bell. You know, he's got these huge, giant gates open up. It's like Rod's house, and you go up to his. So I did that. I went up there and I gave Gregory the thing, and then I get a thing in the mail at Rod's house from Fred Astaire. It said, thanks for the book with the great message. I've enjoyed your work many times. Thank you again. Love, Fred Astaire.
From Fred Astaire. That's
so that was
insane.
like, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I'm a kid from Brooklyn, man. I'm hanging out, you know, with Fred Astaire and getting letters from Fred Astaire.
I think you made it.